General Motors has produced some of the most iconic muscle cars in history, from the legendary Camaro to the powerhouse Corvette and the classic Chevelle SS. These are the rides that come to mind when you think of muscle cars. But that's not all we've seen from them. Today, we're diving into GM's deep cuts, the weird, wild, and sometimes totally underrated muscle cars that you probably never knew existed. From stealthy sedans to turbocharged V6 beasts that left V8s in the dust, GM wasn't afraid to get experimental. And let's just say, some of these experiments led to some very unusual rides. Stick around because we're counting down 8 of GM's strangest muscle cars, and I guarantee our number one pick is going to blow your mind. This is the kind of car that leaves you scratching your head and saying, wait, GM made that? Let's get into it. Kicking off our list at number 8, we've got the Pontiac G8 GXP. Now, if you're a fan of four-door muscle, this one's probably a familiar face, but it's way too cool to leave off this list. When Pontiac released the G8 in 2008, they were already turning heads. But when the GXP came in 2009, that's where things got serious. This beast packed a massive V8 engine under the hood, rear-wheel drive, and, wait for it, a 6-speed manual transmission option. Yeah, GM really went all out on this one. The G8 GXP was built on the Holden Commodore platform straight out of Australia, which led enthusiasts to nickname it the four-door Corvette. And with a 6.2-liter LS3 V8 that pumped out 415 horsepower, it definitely lived up to that name. I mean, this car could do 0 to 60 in just 4.5 seconds. Pretty wild for a sedan, right? Sadly, the G8 GXP never got the love it deserved, mostly because Pontiac was on its way out, and the whole brand was axed in 2010. Production was limited, and today it's a rare find, but if you do spot one, give it a nod. This one is a sleeper sedan that packed a punch. Next up at number 7, we've got the Chevrolet SS sedan, a true stealth machine. Now, if you saw this one on the street, you might mistake it for just another sedan, but don't be fooled. This car has the heart of a muscle machine and the spirit of a true sleeper. Like the G8 GXP, the SS sedan also came from Australia's Holden Commodore. It was GM's smooth, clever way of sneaking a high-performance sports car into the family sedan market. Under the hood, the SS packed a 6.2-liter LS3 V8, pushing out 415 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque. This thing was quick, 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. But you wouldn't know it by looking at it. Unlike the loud, flashy muscle cars we're used to, the SS kept it subtle. GM didn't plaster it with racing stripes or hood scoops. Nope, this car was all about blending in. And you know what? That might be why it really never caught on. People didn't recognize the performance potential in this subtle, under-the-radar package, and sales were very low. But for those who know, the SS sedan is a sleeper legend. All right, here's one that might surprise you. At number 6, we've got the Chevrolet Cosworth Vega. Now, the Vega isn't exactly what comes to mind when you think muscle car, but GM was trying something different here. In the mid-70s, GM was feeling the heat from European imports, and they wanted a compact performance car to keep up. Their solution was to team up with British engineer maker Cosworth to create a performance version of the Vega. The Cosworth Vega came with a 2-liter 16-valve DOHC engine, which was a big deal at the time, especially in a 4-cylinder. With 110 horsepower, it wasn't exactly a speed demon, but it was quick enough to catch some attention. The real appeal, however, was in the engineering, with its aluminum engine block and high-tech design. GM's mistake was slapping a $6,000 price tag on it, a big ask back then, especially for a Vega. Sales didn't exactly take off, with only about 3,500 units sold, making it one of GM's rarest muscle cars today. Sure, it wasn't the powerhouse that other muscle cars were, but for a short time, GM had a European-style compact in the lineup, and that's pretty wild. Coming in at number 5, we've got a car that's as luxurious as it is powerful, the Cadillac CTS V-Wagon. Now, a Cadillac muscle car and a wagon? Yup, it's as crazy as it sounds, and that's exactly why it's on this list. Cadillac decided to take the 6.2-liter supercharged V8 from the Corvette ZR1 and drop it into a wagon. That gave this family-friendly ride a whopping 556 horsepower. You could haul groceries one minute and leave sports cars in the dust the next. This beast could hit 0 to 60 in just 4 seconds. And get this, they even offered it with a manual transmission. The CTS V-Wagon became an instant cult classic, mostly because it was so unexpected. You had a luxury interior, tons of cargo space, and the performance to back it all up. This was the ultimate cool dad car, and to this day, it's a unicorn among American muscle cars. Number 4 on our list brings us back to 1970 with the Oldsmobile Rally 350. Now, Oldsmobile was known for muscle, but this car was a little different. At the time, insurance premiums were skyrocketing for high horsepower muscle cars, so Oldsmobile decided to build something fast but a little more budget friendly. The result? The Rally 350, a car that was all about style, even if it didn't have the craziest horsepower numbers. The Rally 350 came with a 350 cubic inch V8 pushing out 310 horsepower. But what really made it stand out was the look. Bright Sebring yellow paint, color-matched bumpers, and no chrome anywhere. It was bold, it was brash, and it was aimed at young buyers who wanted a muscle car that was different. It wasn't the most powerful car on the market, but with its flashy looks and affordable price, the Rally 350 turned a lot of heads. Today, it's a bit of a forgotten gem, but one that's definitely worth remembering. Coming in at number 3, we've got the Pontiac Can-Am. If you've never heard of this one, you're not alone. The Can-Am was basically a performance version of the Pontiac Le Mans, but with a twist. It borrowed the 6.6-liter V8 from the Trans Am, giving it around 200 horsepower. Sure, that doesn't sound like much today, but back in the late 70s, that was a lot. The Can-Am was a real oddball. Pontiac gave it a shaker hood scoop, bold graphics, and a rear spoiler, making it perfect for anyone craving something different in a muscle car. But unfortunately, production issues held it back from reaching its full potential. Only about 1,100 were ever made, making it incredibly rare. To this day, it's one of the cars that's known mainly to Pontiac enthusiasts, but it deserves a spot on this list for being one of the strangest muscle cars GM ever made. At number 2, we're going way back to 1961 with the Chevrolet Impala SS 409. Now, you might be wondering, isn't the Impala more of a classic cruiser than a muscle car? Well, yes and no. The 1961 SS 409 was a game changer. This was the car that introduced the SS badge, which would become legendary in GM's performance lineup. The Impala SS 409 came with, you guessed it, a 409 cubic inch V8 that cranked out up to 425 horsepower. Back in the day, that was serious horsepower, and it made the Impala a force to be reckoned with. This car wasn't just about looks, it had the muscle to match. It became an icon, inspiring songs and cementing the SS badge as a mark of performance. One song it inspired? The Beach Boys classic, 409. The song's chorus, "She's Real Fine, My 409, became a tribute to the engine that powered this beast, and it put the Impala's 409 engine on the map for car lovers everywhere. For its impact on muscle car history, the SS 409 absolutely deserves its place near the top. And now for our number 1 weirdest GM muscle car, we've got the Buick GNX. This car is the definition of sleeper. It didn't have a V8, it didn't have flashy styling, but man, did it have power. The GNX was based on the Buick Grand National, but Buick decided to take things to the next level with a turbocharged 3.8-liter V6. That's right, a V6. And it was faster than a lot of V8s of its day. The GNX produced 276 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque, but Buick was known for underrating it. In reality, this thing was a beast, hitting 0 to 60 in just 4.7 seconds. That made it one of the fastest production cars of its time, earning it the nickname Darth Vader on wheels. It was sleek, all black, and had that menacing presence. Only 547 units were made, making it a highly sought-after collector's item today. The GNX broke all the rules, and for that, it earned its top spot as the weirdest GM muscle car of all time. And there you have it, folks. 8 of the weirdest GM muscle cars you probably never knew existed. From turbocharged Buicks to V8 wagons, these cars prove that GM wasn't afraid to take risks and try new things. So, which one surprised you the most? Or do you know of another weird GM muscle car we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more hidden gems from the automotive world. Thanks for watching.